Hello, everybody. Hello again. Welcome to Wild Roof Journal's first Zoom reading. So we have so many good contributors to share their work. I don't want to get too bogged down to give you info at the beginning, but I'll say a couple of words, get a quick intro out of the way, and then really just get on with it. So I don't want to get too carried away. But thanks again, everybody, for joining us. It's always so great to get feedback and to get people excited and willing to join in and participate like you all have. So just a couple of words. It's really extra cool to have people from all over the country and even maybe another country or two. I think we're even in the perhaps the UK and Australia, just off the top of my head, in addition to all around the US. So it's always cool to get kind of a pretty wide range of people and creators. And it's always nice to revisit some past contributors. So I think everybody here represents, I think, our issues between issue 11 and issue 16, which was basically our issues from this year, this current year. So it's always good to connect with somebody who might have been in an issue a couple of months ago, revisit what they're doing, at least say hi, keep up with their work, maybe on social media. And an event like this is just another way to reach out and engage. So planning to do more of these events in the near future. Nothing set as far as a schedule yet, but just to kind of throw that lightly out there. I hope to do more of these in the future. So some of you, most of you might already follow the Wild Roof Journal Instagram account. If you don't, you can give it a follow. We're also on Twitter, same handle, Wild Roof Journal. That's not as active, but we got a couple of plans in place to be a little bit more active on Twitter. And that's probably a good point to shout out our co-host, Misty, tonight. She really pretty much set up this event. So even though I'm giving the intro, Misty is probably the one who deserves the credit for organizing, preparing, sending out the or organizing the Google form and all the behind the scenes technical stuff for tonight. So extra thanks to Misty. And on that note, I set up a tip jar, and any optional, obviously, any tip jar contributions will go to our volunteer helpers behind the scenes at Wild Roof Journal. So I'll put that, oh, there we go. It appeared in the chat feature. So again, totally optional, but just to kind of throw a little extra out there. There's that. The second thing that you'll see in the chat is a link to an interview that I just took part of this afternoon. So there's a writer named Becky Tuck, and she does a Substack called LitMag News, or LitMag. It's titled LitMag News, but she does a feature called LitMag Roundup. And she invited me to join in this afternoon and chat for a bit. So she just posted it, and I put the link in the chat. If you want to check it out, if you're familiar with Wild Roof Journal, maybe it's a little redundant, but she did post the recording of our Zoom call on YouTube as well. So a little extra Wild Roof content for you there. I think I already saw Peter Mitchell.
Yeah. Yes, I'm here. All the way from the other side of Earth.
Yeah, so you're one of the
I think I'm in your future. Today here is Thursday, and I gather it's Wednesday evening in the US. Am I correct?
That's right. Yeah.
All afternoon,
exactly.
Perhaps? Yeah. Okay. My first poem that was published by Wild Roof Journal was a poem called Onion Patch, which is a memorialization of my father and stepfather. And if I'm correct, it was in issue 11, I think. Anyway, here goes Onion Patch. In memory, and just a little bit of background, some of the towns that I refer to are small towns in New South Wales, which probably means nothing to you, but anyway, Onion Patch. In memory of my father Vince and grandfather Charlie. With the soil now tilled at my feet, I stand, fork in hand, and pause. I turn my eyes to the blue dome, a million reflections deep. Memories image a chain of reaction. Vince's sweet pickles, 2 pounds of any vegetable, 2 pounds onions, fill out a cookery book for 2 and tried receipts. Your backhand script bequeathed my childhood. The cookhouse in backyard Thornton, the vegetable garden edged with onions. Nearby, the compost heap, your work of renewal. A shadowy presence opens your boyhood in Kansas, Kandos, town of coal and cement dust. The backyard was inclined away from the back door. Again, onion leaves leaned in the air. Your father nurtured these bulbs for survival, soups and stews through the Great Depression. I turn the earth again, the seal times powder the clumps. Onions become memory seals. Your and your father's hands hold these vegetables. Now you're digging in the onion patch is closer than I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. We'll keep it rolling. I saw Amy on our list, Amy McGround. So you're just unmuted yourself. Perfect. Amy?
Hi, guys. Thanks so much, Aaron and Misty, for the invite and setting this up, and all of you guys for joining, all the writers and listeners. So my piece appeared, I think, in the January issue, and it's a personal essay about my mom, who was a very gifted and talented writer and artist who passed away last year. It's called Ebb and Flow. Sea change, Boston Harbor, Gulf Coast, Chesapeake Bay, Florida's Gold Coast, a beach in San Diego, then finally returning to home to the Maine coast. She had all the moves, my mother, all the right moves, until my father left us, left her, left me alone on the island where they'd met 25 years before. Island. Air thick with the fragrance of spruce trees, crabapples thud in sync with the footfalls of deer hooves. The rush of the brook, its belly full of spring rains and snow melt. Time is tricky on the island. We lose track of it, measuring the passage of moments by the level of the tide, angles of sunbeams, degree of bird song, dampness of dew beneath our feet, shift of the wind. Time, like speed limit signs and milk expiration dates, is just a suggestion. Cove. My mother in a dark green canoe with the man who tried too hard to be my father, serenading her at sunset, water smoothly reflecting their love. Here's where, so many years later, I kayaked to escape the mother I had unexpectedly become to my mother, cooking her dinner, buttoning her blouses. Here's where the teenage me hit the 6-pack of Budweiser between the jagged rocky ledges. Here's where I swam every time I returned for a visit. The water like ice even in July. My mother applauding each dive like an Olympic event, the image captured over and over in faded Polaroids, blurred Instamatic snapshots, 35 millimeter glossies, and all wedged in a shoebox. Me diving in, taking a leap of faith, escaping my life and later hers. Tidal wave. Sudden and random as grief, it hits, this tsunami of dementia. I should have seen it coming, but I was an ocean of self-absorption away. Her memory first to go, then the accidents. A bridge, a garage, a parking lot. Then nothing makes sense. Moldy sandwiches in the cupboard, her fuzzy pink slippers in the freezer, and I returned to keep watch over her restless, rootless soul. My mother wandering down the stairs at 3 a.m., the same stair creaking like it did when I'd sneak in drunk in high school. She's an apparition in flannel in the misty meadow, never quite getting to the edge of the water, and now out to sea. Her recollections come in waves swept out to sea, returning on the breath of a moment, teasingly washed to a shoreline. On the fleeting flash of a wave, she is isolated on the island of her mind, aqua, distant. On an island of dreams, the syntax of her life in unfinished disarray, and in the end, a teacup of ashes perched on the rocks. Easter sunrise with my mother, me breaking the thin ice of ice so I can scatter her in a favorite spot on earth. And even in April, spring is as false as my smile. Thank you.
That's beautiful, Amy. So we already have two memorials to parents. That's a nice start, a nice way to begin.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. I thought I would read both of the poems that were in issue 15, which was the one before this one, because they're short.
Perfect.
And I appreciate being part of this and having them published in the journal is just wonderful. This is Channel. The lamp sends down a cone of light, lifting me from night. I require nothing of myself, my mind. No one awake to make demands. No work lists, trying to remember, scheduling, cross-checking. Nothing assigned. Reading nothing I should. Watery eyes, pages blurring, the world's bewildering ways. Injustices remain unspeakable. I step into the current. Little fishes, spots of bioluminescence. My finger touches their backs. And this is Hope. It takes some guts to write a poem called Hope. I'll just say that I realized that. And maybe it may be a little different from what you might expect. Hope. How we came to it, we did not know. We were a long way from the ocean. We walked for a long time. We could not say why we kept going. Lack of alternative, possibly. We drank from a deep hole, water cooled in earth. There were tall trees with thick bark. Needles softened our steps. Then mountains, snow. We descended to a coast. Fish and fruit were plentiful, and we ate. How we came to any of it less than clear. We told stories that pretended to knowledge. Everything we saw was full of meaning beyond us. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hi there. Good evening,
Hello
everyone.
again.
Cheers, Erin and Misty, for organizing this. Thank you. If okay, I'll read the poem that was in issue 15 and then a very short new one. Can we read that?
Yep, absolutely.
Very good. Okay, this is titled Bone Eater Whale Fall. All I know, not know, for I know nothing, and nothingness is a liquid thrum, self-wide, endless. I may die this way with no sense of what death is. I might begin and end with only this. Then now, there is a dragging towards upheaval, cataclysm, the gong sound of an all-new order that animates, that sings a sad whale's song as it begins and ends with a tender laying down in the dark. I make my way by chance, as seafarers often do, to a deep place of blind and slow bursting life. I now know life. Here I settle and open to receive its sustenance. How could I have known to have faith that this great gift existed? I root down in a new, eternally secret world that will make me an ancestor, though there's not much to me at all. a translucent cylinder of light where there is none, a tiny bit of current where there is nothing else, but now awakened, now cradled and nourished, an infant at a bony breast. Thanks. And a new brief one. Excuse me. Sorry, the dog decided to chew a bone at this moment. Next to go around, I will see it all from 3 heads higher. I will have sycamore bones and boat broad shoulders, and if I sit cramped on benches, others will say, more room, and set me apart with space to unfold. I won't be bound by green and weedy things that can die on the vine. I won't just swim across the river, but downriver to the sea, where deep things will flee deeper as I drink it into my mass. When my hands grip, I will feel only yielding, and if there's need, I will hold forever. I will neither fit nor be folded into another's arms. When I do the folding, I won't notice the ghost's memory of delicate hands, of far fewer choices, of wariness of people like me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think I'm next on the list. I'm Kate Walzer, and my dog is
Thanks.
also
Hello.
a bone in my lap. So I'm just gonna set him down. I'm grateful to have been published in issue 14. Thank you, Misty and Aaron, for making this happen, and everyone else who's here. I'm excited. This poem is called Geode. Hands craft a legacy on the horizon, combing through clouds, reach toward a reimagining, unearth a collection, glimmering tools, precious and polished. Remember when you wished to become an archaeologist? Remember the gentle touch of discovery, decades of healing powers on reserve? Wait for the right moment to strike, to reveal what we know to be true. Shimmer, strength, and unnerved love to the core, rose quartz frame, and you know the rest. There's always an exhale to reach you when your sails need a push, elixirs and petals, texts from trustworthy friends, the right words for those less than right moments, this bounty, this beauty, this brilliance. The best part, we're all in on it. And then I'll do another little one that was recently published elsewhere. It was a shout out to my dog because it's from when I was walking him. Walking the Pinetum, May 2020. The new moon can't bear to show her face. On the baseball field, a pair of geese preen in peace. Coralberry blooms around the contemplation circle, gifting a quick hello from a hummingbird among the conifers. In my headphones, a score composed for the planets. My little pigeon scattering companion chases the breeze as we move toward the castle. His clover damp mustache and paws get lost among tufts of untamed lawn. How strangely lush the month's grown grass. How red the wet underbelly of an acorn. Pine blonde tail flexes as a squirrel bows toward a burial. Behind the ivy of the stone-tucked transverse, lights and whales move west toward home. Thanks.
I think I'm up.
Adam, hello.
Hi. So thanks everyone for being here and thanks for having me. Mine is an essay that was published in issue 15 called Submerged Stories, Breaching History. It's far too long to read, so I'm just going to read the end, but to set up that end, let me tell you that I'm a historian and I go to the Snake River in this piece and see what I call ghost landscapes. That is all the things that had happened here before. So this is just the end of that. The river and its cultures aren't only intellectual puzzles to be solved, but histories to be felt. What I feel rattling in my bones are the stories ghost landscapes tell. Truthfully, I sometimes wish I didn't hear these stories and couldn't hear the absent voices. Knowing this history can feel like a burden. If only, I muse, I just saw beauty in this land instead of the brutality that mingles with it. I'd see rocks and plants instead and note the sparkling water. I'd hear bird songs and waves and might not lament the power lines stretched along the ridge or the fish no longer teeming in the currents. But that's like asking for ignorance, and I know this is no responsible choice. Still, when the river pulls and I descend to it, I imagine its different pasts. I see indigenous people fishing abundant salmon at the rapids now submerged. I see the core of discovery taking notes about these hills and trading for dogs and dried food. I see steamers loading fruit and unloading goods at bustling communities. But Lower Granite and all the other dams foreclosed that history, smothered those landscapes in the unsparing logic of the engineer and planner. The essayist Scott Russell Sanders once wrote, "I am suspicious of the logic that would forestall occasional floods by creating a permanent one." And as I gaze across the placid reservoir that has replaced the wild rapids of the Snake, I share his skepticism. And when I can take it no longer, when the inescapable weight of history becomes uncomfortable to bear, and my imaginative longings push me toward depression, I head back home, climbing the canyon. I sense the Naxa Yamtama with their Nimipu relatives and neighbors tending plants, perhaps the bitterroot, here before the reservation. I imagine the erstwhile horticulturalists eking out their living, harvesting muscat grapes before reservoir waters flooded their vineyards. As I ascend further, I see a few ranchers still at it, their Angus cattle clinging unnaturally to those precipitous hills. Early one summer evening, I meet a truck coming down the steep, twisting road without guardrails. It pulls a ski boat, heading for the boat launch I just left, planning for a couple hours of carefree recreation. This playtime, uncomplicated by the ghosts, I cannot quite fathom. I don't know the unfolding story for those boaters, but their world too will know change. And someday, a historian like me may lament what they lost when the dams were breached. But I will cheer the ghost reservoir. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Looks like J. Thomas Brown be our next participant.
Hi, Aaron, and thank you for publishing my poem. It seems like a good home for it. Was really really glad to be accepted. I was in issue 15 in July, I think it was. My poem is Landfill Doggerel. One thing is certain, and the rest is lies. The flower that once has blown forever dies. I heard the whoosh of the bending sickles chime and decided to clean up my rubbish while there was still time. I threw my hoardings into the yard where it grew into a mound. Toys, boots, and books, a blender with a crack that made a clattering sound. A broken vacuum cleaner musting up the closet. A TV without knobs to shut it off or turn the volume down. In the garage were stacks of boxes and cans of lumpy paint. A mower that wouldn't start, a bike with a broken chain, a sink with a rusted faucet, and a polyvinyl chloride clogged up kitchen drain. Then all at once came a nagging doubt that it might be better not to throw it out and get more shelves or a bigger shed, or maybe buy a bigger house instead. So, straightening the clutter inside my mind, I heaved the mound onto my pickup, jumped behind the wheel and started it up. It bucked and jerked when I let out the clutch. The tires bulged, the frame groaned. It couldn't hold so much. I stomped on the gas and got on the road, headed for the dump at last. When I got there, I was not the first, and joined the growing convoy of Humvees, flatbeds, vans with trailers, SUVs. You couldn't turn around if you changed your mind. They just kept on coming, adding to the line. We slowly crept forward, inch by inch, inhaling the landfill breeze, scented with a mix of garbage and the decay of commodities. I backed up to the dump dock as the sun was setting low, threw my trash into the dumpster that was soon to overflow with armchairs, couches, cinder block and tires, rubber gloves and packing straps, plastic chicken wire. They hauled it with a tractor to a methane-belching ziggurat and spread it on the towering top. Every day thereafter, they added to the peak, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. On the way homeward, I reflected on the dump and how the people of the future would find it in the ground and wonder with amazement how their cities are built on ancient garbage mounds. They'll brush away the dust to find my sink and faucet, unclog the kitchen drain, fix the TV, fix the mower, start it up, then draw the conclusion we could make nothing last and decide they are lucky they were not born in the past. They'll pile it on a starship, then blast it off through space to terraform the Martian craters with our toxic waste. And by the way, NASA is actually planning to dump on Mars by the year 2030. And they're thinking about the Elon Musk Starship as, a possible means of getting the garbage there.
Thank you so much. Yeah. What to do with trash? It's an ever-present question. And looks like Ryan, you'll be up next.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm Aaron, Misty, for putting this together. I'm going to read first a poem that was featured in issue 15. And since in August, actually a few months after, I had like a little collection come out and it's in the collection too. So, the shameless false, self-advertising, right? But this poem is called Tulsa. We drove through the backwoods of Tulsa in a hatchback red with fading rust, past redwood barns, water towers, and miles of open field where herds of black cattle crowded the golden lawns like dust mites circling round a sunbeam. A remnant of a bygone age where men knew the land and pasture and prairie were one and the same, wild and untamed, endless and free, all horizon line and zephyr sky. There we were, cutting cross country, admiring the view like a postcard, rumbling down the flat black asphalt, unaware of the irony, enjoying the seeming boundless stretch while driving along a boundary. And real quick, I'll just read another poem from this collection. It's called Charlie. Thank you. It's named after a pet turtle I had that sadly passed away a few weeks after I got it, as pet store turtles often do. This is Charlie. We brought Charlie home in a great glass case and placed him carefully on the bureau. He was small back then. Red streaks ran down his side like great bursts of brilliant flame, paddling about in the water like a fiery comet cutting through space. I spent hours with my nose pressed against his tank, watching him hunt for bobbing pellets. As far as I could tell, he was my first friend, my first confidant, the last emblem of my innocence. But like innocence, pet store turtles don't last very long. And after Charlie died, it was safe to say my boyhood was gone. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And at the end, don't let me forget, I'll let everybody make their shameless plugs, so you won't be the only one. So that's one of the fun things, is to swap links, social media handles, whatever. So at the end, we'll have a go around and post to the chats. So congrats on the book. Well done. Sarah
Okay.
Crosscut.
Yeah. So thank you so much for organizing this. This is so great. It's just good to see like all these creative people all together on one screen. I appreciate the opportunity. So I am going to be reading a personal essay that actually was published way back in issue 10, I think. I think it was November of last year. It's called Connectedness. On October 30th, 2018, feeling disconnected and fragmented, I left my family, my friends, and my home to embark on a bucket list adventure to the remote Inupiaq community of Wainwright, Alaska, a place far north of the Arctic Circle. I worked as the middle school and high school science teacher in the small village school. The kids were tough, and I was an outsider. Even as a seasoned educator, my first day in the classroom with the sixth graders was indescribably difficult. Reaching to connect with them, I decided our first lesson would be comparing the animals found in the Arctic tundra to the animals found in Richmond, Virginia, my home of 28 years. They spoke of the majestic raven and I of the sweet songbirds of the temperate climate. As the weeks passed and we continued to learn from each other, I felt trust taking root and relationships budding. We were growing our connections to each other, intertwining our cultures, much like plants use a tiny network of fungal roots to connect and communicate. One day, one of my most difficult female sixth grade students handed me a traced drawing of a songbird. To me, it was a simple sign of peace and acceptance. We are all the same, no matter our climate or culture. We all need the same things, a connection to others and an acknowledgement of our inner beauty and wisdom. Edward O. Wilson defines the hypothesis of biophilia as the innately emotional affliction of human beings to other living organisms. Innate means hereditary and hence part of the ultimate human nature. Connecting ourselves with nature can provide us the space and breathing room to unearth our own inner beauty, find our voice, celebrate our gifts, and confront our fears. Sitting amongst even the simplest setting in the natural world has positive effects on the physical body and can move one from a state of thinking to a state of mindful being, where peace, joy, and clarity are sustained. Discovering our place in nature, our interconnectedness to all living things, fills us with humility, gratitude, and awe. We step outside of our stifling small world into the big picture where we can exhale. Backyard garden or bucket list outdoor adventure of a lifetime, our relationship with the natural world challenges us to practice our patience, boost our bravery, and raise our resilience as we learn to go with the flow and connect to life's circle, reminding us we never have to do this alone.
Perfect, thank you. So looks like John, you'll be up next.
Thank you so much for the chance to be published, for the chance to do this. It's an honor, and this is a great joy, so thank you. I'm going to read a poem called The New Pattern, which was published, I just checked. It was issue 13. So I guess that's March, something like that. So yeah, The New Pattern. I spend too much time beside this small stream, standing, staring, trying to decide if I belong to the mosses and lichen or the scavengers hiding. My dog noses the slush beneath the branches of oak, maple, the solitary cedar that stretches its splendor in winter, while everyone else slouches, narrow and naked. Like a child, I try to be surprised again, to look through your eyes. A red leaf under ice is the iridescent wing of a fly. I wonder what to make of the radiant web on the skin of the water. I think I see a memory of our bodies in happier times, our fragile veins like dry lightning, summer moonshine, or else a sign of my desire to shatter, crack apart, piece us back together. How I want to climb this bone-cold bark, weary my arms, burn away my seethe and fever, and throw myself to the forest floor to bleed for you, a new pattern in snow and pine straw. Thank you. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. You know, I wanted to mention, John, I had a colleague who read a piece of yours somewhere else. I'm not even sure where. It might have perhaps on Instagram or somewhere else. And they posted a message that it reminded them of my writing.
Oh, great.
The piece
That's
that they
wonderful.
read. So it was totally not connected. I mean, they didn't know really you other than reading your piece wherever they saw it. So it was just a funny connection. I was like, yeah, I know that guy.
I will be in
So
your
I don't know if
DM shortly. Thank
I don't know
you.
if that's a compliment or what, but it's
you.
true.
Well, it's a compliment. Thank you.
So it looks like it's me next. My name is
Yeah, hello.
Victoria.
Hello, Victoria. Go
Hi,
go
how
right
you
ahead.
doing, Aaron? I just wanted to thank you, Aaron, so much for publishing my poem in issue 12. Thanks, Misty, for all your technical prowess, because I certainly have none. I just want to also let you know that The Hatchet Son, which you published, issue 12, is the title poem for my collection, full-length collection, The Hatchet Son. And that's under contract to be published 2023 by Finishing Line Press. In the interim, oh, thank you so much. Yep, thank you. So we will forever be linked with my title. I'd like to read two poems. One is The Hatchet Son, which will be available as this book is also available on Amazon. The Hatchet Son. How empty the lake with no water, weeds, grass, and dried cattails. Where water once was, where water hid fishes, where water gave deer a drink. The lake lay bare like a lover, the first glimpse unclothed, where I am toppled by heat, where I struggle for air, where water once was. A lone vulture calls. I squint, raspy, drawn out, hissing sound, where birds of prey convene, where water once was, where carcasses now grow. Grunting like hungry pigs or barking dogs in the distance, where bones turn from pink to creamy yellow, where water once was, and fishes and deer, where the hatchet sun sets. Without knowing it, thank you,
Lovely.
Tom. I think that must be a ghost landscape. So thank you for that. Very inspiring to me. This one's a little lighter. This one's a little bit more like, for current day. This one's going into a publication. Hopefully that'll get picked up. It's called Shaving the Yak and Other Poems from the Dog Chapel. I'm just putting that together now, another full-length collection. But I was married for 23 years, divorcing for 7. And now looking back, there are all these little things left over that I keep saying, oh, that was I should have, I remember, So this is called Little Things Left Over. I was the bride of Frankenstein. Lightning, white streaks, black wig, interior wire frame for height and shape. We were married then, just moved into the new house on Crystal, perfect for entertaining and cooking. It was the first adult Halloween party we'd hosted together for family and friends. Costumes were not optional. My birthday's the next day after trick or treat. We'd hosted a leftover witch, my mother used to say, so I bought myself a ghoulish cake. We'd argued the week before about his costume. Larry agreed to be Frankenstein. I had bought the green makeup, cut up old black pants. But he really, really wanted to be a baseball player, which is really, really what he had wanted to be in real life since he was a kid, his dream. My brother was the werewolf, amazing brown fur on his face, neck, chest, arms, hands, an ascot, and a pink polo. There was a proctologist, a nun, Little Bo Peep, Superman, the Grim Reaper, a witch, Morticia and Gomez Adams, the devil, the bride of Frankenstein, and a Royals baseball player, wooden bat in hand. I forgive you now, Larry, years later, for not being the kind of monster I needed. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Victoria. Hannah would be our next reader.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having this. It's been so great to hear everyone else read. Okay, I'm going to start with The Final Sting, which was published in issue 16. Okay. I'm leading into the sacrifice of being nice to you. What was your favorite album of the week? Did you sleep with anyone last night? We looked away, scraping the connection of our feet to the asphalt, but our mouths stood still, frozen on the fight about smoking weed and how quickly you gave up as we emptied out a gallon of sighs. Crawling back to each other's senses, we tempered the strokes of falling leaves, letting our chests open to the hives, to be torn apart by love one last time. My voice trailed inside you as you turned off your ears, a bee that wouldn't stop stinging. I pretended to still have eyes, lifting my face to get lost in the hustle of smiling for the passerby flies. No time to ease conversation through. My tears hummed more loudly in place. Both of us crunched down, looking for branches to hold, for each other to be anything but still alive. Okay, thanks. And that was the one from Wildlife Journal. And now I'll read Invisible Spiders. And this was published by Rough Beast, which was a series from Indolent a while ago during the pandemic. Okay, Invisible Spiders. It took me a while to learn how to live with brain fog. My smile starts with shaking skeletons before I press on the brakes like a madman. My dating profile states that I'm taking COVID-19 seriously. My laugh collapses into your ears as you wonder what kind of alien I am. It has been exactly 2 days since I have stalked my ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend. Wanting more leaps of departed ha-has, I tickle you with nervousness, expanding at the great wall of solitude. Spiders communicate through vibrations and pheromones. Who understands invisible illnesses, or that smaller spiders can survive higher falls? The sinking starts at my chest and lingers like a fly circling chocolate cake as I take another bite of trying to hear you. I ask your avatar every place you have been in the last 6 months. Spiders have excellent eyesight. They use their webs to think. Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much, Hannah. Thanks so much for everybody and sharing a piece. It was a little bit difficult just to not want to comment. You know, that's kind of part of the podcast and the roundtable. You want to dig in and say, "Oh, I like this. This worked this way, and that worked that way, and this is what was good." So that's not the event today. We just appreciate it, and I want to thank everybody for sharing their hard work and some of their successes along the way for getting published. It's not the easiest thing in the world to get something published, as I'm sure everybody here is super aware of. So when it does happen, it's nice to be able to share that and to kind of enjoy it. So with that being said, I mean, a couple of wrap up items. The new issue of Wild Roof Journal is in the works, planning for first week of November release. So if you are following us on social media, you'll see it when it's released. So you'll be hopefully seeing that pretty soon. It might not make it for November 1st. I like to get it out of the way on the first of the month, but certainly that first week. Secondly, if anybody does have something to plug, promote, mention, feel free to post it in the chat section. A link to a book published, a link to your website, social media handle. I'm certain we've all enjoyed somebody's work today, if not everybody's work today. So, it's always a nice little boost to get a couple of followers on a social media account or a couple of views on a web page. So please feel free to post anything you got in the chat, and I'll let you linger a bit and click where you need to click and visit where you need to visit and bookmark what you need to bookmark and all that stuff. So I'll give you a few moments to catch up with that and post a link or two. As you're doing that, I think I kind of mentioned everything for the most part from the Wild Roof Journal end. If you know people who fit the aesthetic, fit this type of creative work, could be in the realm of visual arts, could be in the realm of prose writing, poetry, you name it. Pass a link along. The word of mouth idea is so useful. As much as social media is nice and all that good stuff, it's always a hand-to-hand kind of a recommendation is also very much appreciated. Misty, do you want to say hi to everybody? Thanks again to Misty. Shout out. Round of applause.
Hi, that's me. Yeah, no, thank you all for coming tonight. This was really fun. We haven't done anything like this before, so we were just kind of planning as we go and hoping for the best, and it really turned out incredible. So thank you all for your bravery and for being willing to share.
Yeah, we were worried that, is there going to be too many people, too few people, like I said. So nice size of the group, manageable, yet feels like almost like we were in a room. That would be about the amount of people we would have in in a real life poetry reading, 20, 25 people. That's perfect. So it almost felt like a real in-person event, if you just imagine a little bit. So yeah, thanks again.
Thanks, everyone.